All right, we like to do reviews about subclasses and classes and that kind of stuff, but you know what? Some people out there might not be aware that we make our own classes.
It's true. Well, I don't know if we've made a class yet, but we do make subclasses. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about one of the subclasses that we made. And if you like this subclass and you want to get it, you can go download it from Patreon. It'll be over there as a PDF. So we have the subclass for Ranger, Stygian Shadow.
The Stygian Shadow is familiar with the terrain of the coldest of hells. You know how to tap into the power of undeath. Though not all Stygian Rangers are themselves undead, and in fact most are not, they have a kinship with that which is caught between life and death, experience trauma of liminal space between life and death, and part of you never came back. So you seek that part in others and feel the pull of the pulsing life force. A brush with death once brought you right up to its doorway and perhaps a step beyond, and a portion of you remained. Although you don't remember what you saw there, it left you with an unusual connection to that which separates the living from the dead. Acutely aware of your own heartbeat and the thrum of life within others, you have an uncanny knack for tracking the living and the dead, as part of you never came back from that near-death experience. I'm Nerdarchy Ted.
And I'm Nerdarchy Dave.
Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds. So you get a Stygian Shadow quirk, which is a D6 chart. A 1 through 2, you're always cold to the touch. A 3, 4, you have a tendency to rock or tap your fingers in an eerie sync with the heartbeat of a creature closest to you. Or a 5, 6, when you are cut, your blood stays chilled and still in the wound instead of actively flowing. And then we get into the actual powers. The Stygian Shadow magic, starting at 3rd level, you learn an additional spell when you reach certain levels in this class, as shown in the Stygian Shadow spells table. And they count as ranger spells for you and don't count against the number of spells you know. 3rd level, you get False Life. 5th level, Detect Thoughts. 9th level, Sleet Storm. 13th level, Locate Creature. And 17th level, Anti-Life Shell. And your first power, not spells, Heartseeker. When you enter into the Conclave at 3rd level, you gain the ability to feel the life force of a nearby creature. You can use your bonus action to force a creature you can see within 30 feet of you to become heart-locked for 1 minute. The duration increases to 10 minutes at 7th and an hour at 15th. This feature has no effect on constructs or undead. While you are heart-locked, you have advantage on Wisdom Insight checks against the creature. You are always aware of its location on the same plane of existence, and you have advantage on any saving throws the creature forces you to make. In addition, your connection allows you to anticipate their actions before they do. The first time, each turn that you attack that target with a weapon attack, you have advantage on the attack. You can use your bonus action to sever the connection prematurely. The creature has to make a wisdom save or take 3d8 necrotic damage or half as much on a successful, and then it goes up in damage when you gain higher levels. 4d8 at 5th, 5d8 at 10th, and 8d8 at 15th level. You can use this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you get it all back on a long rest.
All right, so far we've got the one ability, we've got the spells. And the concept for this ranger is you've died, but you've come back. You know, the idea of you were resuscitated, possibly. Maybe you're on your last death save, and someone cures you and brings you back to your feet. But at some point in your life, you were 1 foot in the grave. Yeah. And it would have happened, most likely would have happened after you had become a ranger already. Mm-hmm. So, so that kind of influences where it's less of a trained thing. There's not like a mentorship or apprenticeship even. It's just, it's something innately that's been triggered in you.
Yeah, that connection. And I look at this as like, this would be the perfect thing for somebody who like literally rolls a 1 on a death save, but then comes back. Because like it's that, that closeness to death that is like, all right, something severe has to happen for you to go down and then roll that natural 1. It's like, all right, that's one step that, puts you between life and death. So like, that's only looking at it from a mechanical aspect. Like from a story thing, you can explain this in so many different ways, whether you've literally fought undead or, there was just some kind of spell, or maybe, it's even like a vision in your dream and the future is actually kind of coming back. So something that has happened, in the future, potentially after your character is even retired, it like echoes back through the decades and, affects you at the time that you get to choose your subclass.
I even think like, and like possibly, you've been bitten and drained by a vampire just to the brink of the end, right? Mm-hmm. And that's created this connection between you and the living, essentially,
sure.
More so than on death, because the pulse of other people kind of beats in your ears. If you focus and concentrate, you can heart lock them, and you can hear their heartbeat and you kind of connect with their life force. There's a lot of media too, I feel like, that has that story where the hero is defeated and nearly destroyed, but then he comes back to win. I'm really excited about the Wakanda Forever coming up. And I think of Black Panther, right, when he loses and goes over the edge and he's in that between life and death stage for a while before they bring him back. He could be a Stygian Shadow Ranger.
That's entirely true. But I mean, if you think of vampire as too, cliche or what have you, you could also go Shadow. It's a much lower level monster, and it begins to cause you to fade away. Because if you literally have your strength drained completely, you become a Shadow. So I feel like it's right in the name, Shadow. So I feel like that could be completely apropos as well. Yeah.
But I mean, also, it doesn't have to have anything to do with undeath or undead at all. It's just the fact, you've seen the doorway to the other side. And as it says in the description, perhaps you put a foot in there and brought it back.
Indeed. So moving on to 7th level, you get Heart's Bane. The cold no longer bothers you. You gain resistance to cold damage, and when you hit a creature that you're heart locked with a weapon attack, it deals an additional 1d6 damage that increases to 2d6 at 11th and 3d6 at 15th.
So basically, this ranger is really strong against a single opponent, right? Mm-hmm. More than likely, you're not going to go around just heart locking anybody. You're going to save this for the big bads or the more powerful creatures in an encounter. Mm-hmm. If you fight a dozen goblins, it's like, do I really want to heart lock one of these? So while it seems really strong, and there's definitely dynamics where it's far less useful, right? Because you could easily just blow through your uses of it really fast and have it go away. But when you are using it, it's strong. You're going to hit hard. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what Rangers are supposed to do anyway.
I would agree. And, like you said, it's not for the, just spam it like crazy because you're only getting a number of uses equal to your proficiency bonus. Yeah. And with that, comes, all right, you've got limited uses. And the fact that it's very useful both in combat to deal extra damage, but also in social situations because you can use it to get advantage to see if they're lying or not on insight checks. I feel like that makes it very versatile, but at the same time makes it far more challenging in the limited number of uses. So you have to be careful with it. At 11th level, you're going to get Heart Shroud. You've seen what lies beyond the veil, and frankly, you weren't impressed. You gain resistance to necrotic damage, and you have advantage on death saves.
Advantage to death saves, very nice. There's definitely other classes that get that. Mm-hmm. Some classes even at proficiency. I believe there might even be a race or two somewheres that gets the advantage on death saves. Matter of fact, one of the Ravenloft lineages, I'm playing it, I think gets it. And also anything that has to do with your character getting dropped, I'm like, it is kind of cool, but also it requires your character getting dropped for it to be useful.
I mean, it's nice. I mean, I was reading some of the stuff for the 1D&D. That there's a feat that is like, all right, you just succeed. I'm like, all right, that's kind of cool. So wouldn't work as well with this particular one. But it's still nice to be able to be like, all right, getting advantage, that's going to double your chances or increase your chances for getting that, that natural 20 to get back up. But it's also going to all right, I'm going to stay on the living side, which, is what you're kind of looking for. Is like, well, I've had my brush with death and it's fortified me against it. So therefore it's like, all right, I can withhold it for now until I'm ready to, cross that border again. 15th level, you get your last power. It's called Heartbreaker. You got a whole thing: Heart's Bane, Heart Shroud, Heart Seeker, Heartbreaker. Whenever your Heartlock connection ends, the creature you are heartlocked with, if it fails its Wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC to take the damage, it's also going to be stunned as well as taking the necrotic damage.
Yes, which is very nice. And you're going to have to give up the advantages, but maybe you just need to do more damage. Maybe you need to shut them down for a round. It does create that scenario where you have to make a decision. Do I want to continue to be better against this opponent, or do I want to try and shut them down for a round?
Lock it.
Yeah, and again, they get a save, so there's a chance that you're not able to stun them.
But it's still damage. It's still half damage if they succeed on the saving throw. But to be able all right, I'm going to do damage and potentially stun them. It's really nice, and you've got that connection with that heartbeat. I think it's pretty cool, and I really like the flavor and everything all tied together into this particular subclass.
Yeah, it's very thematic. It's definitely very fun. Let us know what you think about it. Put it down in the comments below. And also, like we said, you go over to Patreon and become a patron where you'll be able to download this. And we're going to be doing more subclasses like this and just put them one at a time over there for folks to download, in addition to the other benefits of being a Nerdarchy Patreon.
In addition to that, it also supports the channel to help make videos like this, as well as all the articles over on nerdarchy.com.
Articles like a group of rangers is called a lodge.
And if you want to head over to that Nerdarchy website, you can also check out the store and check out some of our great products over there, like Dark Paths, Pools of Bliss. The 5th edition content in this book explores new, darker paths for adventurers to follow. Beginning down one of these dark paths leads to power, but a perilous cost. Here's the dark faces insurmountable odds and challenging decisions, whether it's worth the cost to fight against such forces by tapping into the same source of insidious influence as their terrible foes. A new establishment in the city promises fun and entertainment like the likes of which you've never experienced. The bliss attempts revelers, the pleasure seekers, the ultimate prize for those who risk a roll of the dice or a deal from the deck, their greatest desires. But how much is too much? The adventure scenario is for 4 5th level characters, 3 new creatures including the enigmatic dealer, 3 new subclasses, the College of Mirrors, the Order of the Peacock Wizard, and the Way of Excess Monk, as well as 4 new magic items.
Like I said, put your thoughts down in the comments below. Share what your idea was with the Nerdarchy community. Do you like the Stygian Shadow Ranger subclass or not? Would you use it in your game?
Help appease that YouTube algorithm and help out Nerdarchy by doing that like, share, subscribe, click on that notification bell. You want to.
Quick reminder, we drop new videos on the channel here several times a week, so come on back. But you can't wait till then. 5 essential D&D Ranger spells for Tier 1.
So until next time, stay nerdy.